How does that look? Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. And I think it started recording. So whenever you guys are ready, or do you have any questions before I start? Or?
Nah, we'll just wing it. I'm good.
Cool.
I'm good. I'll just make some shit up on the fly.
Awesome. So I'll start there. First of all, thank you and welcome to this stakeholder meeting. My name's Matthew Payne, and this is the non-AMI NST testing program. I'll first start by introducing everyone. So I'm Matthew. I'm the project manager for this program. We have Ida, who's the team leader of the mod group within PowerCorp. They're acting as the contractors, but they're internally sourced. We have Jared, who is part of the steering committee, and also acting as a mentor throughout this program, and Bex, who is working for ESV, for Energy Safe Victoria, as the governance representative. So I'll first touch off with the content. So we'll start off with a bit of a breakdown on what the actual program is, with some project objectives, project roles and responsibilities, just the key documents and where they can be sourced. Scope of works, the work breakdown, and then governance with a bit of an explanation on one of the big risks that we've accomplished on this project so far, and just how we've kind of gone through this resolution. So, and then we'll follow with some questions and answers. So I'll first start off with what the NST program is. So basically, it's ensuring the accuracy and reliability of electricity usage measurements. So basically, the actual program is that there are 449 sites around Victoria for this year that have been identified as high risk. So these ones need to be tested, and if they need to be replaced, they need to be replaced within the year. This goes by a 10-year, like a rolling program. So with these ones, when they get tested, they have 10 years to then be deemed fit and safe. And then this is governed by Energy Safe Victoria, so BEX. So with the governance part of it, they're the ones who flag this every single year. So this year there's 449. That being said, we do have minimum requirements, as will be discussed a little bit later on in this project. Oh, hang on, sorry. Cool. So we'll start with a project overview on how the timeline should work. So this one was given as a starting date with ESV at the end of April. This was to determine the requirements of the project. In the 1st to the 7th, we were asked to design and create PMO to this. This one was taken internally with the help of the mentors and steering committee to then discuss the procurement and contract settlements. With yourself in the mod group, this one got released to construction, and then hoping to have this one planned 2 weeks before close of business on the 15th of the 12th. The benefits and outcomes of this one is based through the safety metering across our networks, ensuring our guidelines are met with ESV, detecting faulty metering on contestable sites, and replacement on site with quick rectification. So unfortunately, all the project roles can't be here today, but I'll just quickly identify who they are. So we have our project sponsor, who's Carl Harrison. He approves the scope management plan and provides high-level scope definition through the project charter. We have Richard Foreman, Stephen O'Brien, and now Jared. He's also part of the steering committee as a mentor. So they all participate in the scope definition activities and review major scope changes. Myself as the project manager, I'm responsible for overall responsibility of scope management, approving scope changes within my authority, and escalating scope changes as well. Peter Allen, who's in charge of the contract within the metering group. So they just handle things on a contract basis. We also had Wayne, who was in charge of this one, but is now with Ida in the mod group. So they're responsible for the hands-on deck kind of work, actually going out and performing the task. This one was taken back and forth from internal and external contractors, just trying to gauge which is the best approach. But I'll explain a little bit later why we've taken this one internally. And then Energy Safe Victoria as the governing body and providing feedback and monitoring scope changes as they come. Yep, so we have the key documents here. The key documents of the project include the scope management plan, risk management, project knowledge management plan, project charter, communication management plan. We also have a risk register, which I'll touch on a little bit later as well. The project governance plan and change and variation request form for any variations that may come throughout the project. Are there any questions so far?
Not for me.
Oh, good.
No, all good. Perfect. I'll keep going along. I will also touch on that where this one can be found is all on SharePoint. This has also been released on a link where ESV, who aren't internally sourced, but they have access to these forms as well. Yeah, and the MOL group and steering committee are all part of Power Core, so they've got access to these forms. Yeah, so just on what the scope the scope of the works for this one is the service neutral to be NSC tested and results are recorded. This includes the updating of service neutral integrity statuses of all these meters. There is areas within this where they are tough to get into if they're stuck behind customer properties. So when that does happen or occur, we do have permission that we don't have to do these ones. We just have to keep records of all these until, I guess, action is required. And the main objective is to complete all project deliverables by 2023.
Sorry, mate. I have the questions in terms of the scope of works there. As part of the internal contractors of use of this program that I have discussed this with my work group meeting, and then we found that how strategically to approach the sites locations, particularly for the meters locations there. What if we can't access the site?
Yeah, so before the project was commenced, this was performed, so communication was given through lettering and communication to sites that were communal. So, for example, like residential sites or industrial buildings where there are businesses involved. So the directive has been given that if you can't get into the site for whatever reason, we just need to record that and then keep on moving. We do have a strict time frame in terms of how we complete this project. If we can't get into there to the meter, if it's behind locked doors or anything like that, we're just given directive to keep moving on.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
All good. Sorry, guys. Cool. So I'll just quickly touch on the work breakdown structure. So it's broken down into four different levels within, three different levels, but 4 different sections. So we got our initiation, which is the preliminary work around contractor confirmation. So this one was picked to go internal. The decision was made to do that early on the piece. It was originally done externally, but we brought this internally due to budgetary requirements. We've got the team and the resources to do it internally. So we've chosen to do that with the MOL group. Preparation, so designing preliminary scope statements. The project team was selected and NSC testing approval was done through ESV. This will be done through testing and resolution. So we will go to all the sites, perform our usual on-site arrivals and safety talks and setups. And then if required, issue resolution is required for anything that may happen, which includes an isolation and site cleanup. And then to conclude, it just be the documentation and reporting. Yeah, so just on governance, this is just another recap of the governance and plans that we have in place. So all these different plans are outlined here, and the variation and risk management is done through these forms as well. So if there's any correspondence that we need in terms of any scope changes or risks to get identified, they should go through email or communication to myself, and then we make sure that this one's included in our risk register. This is just some key risks that are identified within the project so far. So we have, meters that are congested traffic areas and highways, nighttime works, and environmental legislation breaches. what I've just highlighted is the process of the risk register, how this has been identified as the certain levels and how we can try and rectify this with mitigation and contingency plans. I guess the aim of this is to prevent the occurrence of that happening moving forward. We do have a lot of sites to get through, and I'll touch on how we've reduced this. We have had a few changes with the business, but this is how we prevent and recur it. So through planning and also reducing the impact if this was to happen to any other person, any other site in any given year. So hopefully we can take this information and roll with it for years to come. This is identified through a C3 or C2, through a rating as such, and then keep moving forward. So hopefully we can reduce the issue ratings as such on the right here.
Can I touch base on that too? Sorry, Matt. So I understand that the date is in June, but now we're approaching November, which the project is already commenced. So how do we manage and record any new risks if that we encountered on site?
Absolutely. So this one here is just an example of 3 that have happened on site so far. So we do have a common risk register that's found on our SharePoint drive. Any new risks that are developed between now and the end of this project's life cycle, we do attach this to the running risk register. This can be used because this requirement is actually for years to come, because this is a 10-year rollout. So with this plan, we can use this for future years and develop more plans and contingency plans around this as well.
Okay, and I believe we all have the access to this document as well, right?
Yes. Yeah, everyone in this group and any project member along with this program has access to these links. If you have any issues, you can just communicate with me directly and we can share those links again.
Thank you.
Great. I just thought that I'd touch on one of our big scope changes that we've had for this, and this was identified through our project sponsor as well as, well, it went through the approval of the project sponsor. So within the company, we've had a lot of budgetary requirements where we've had to decrease workloads. We have had to change the scope reduction from our original 449 sites to 45. This was done through a range of different problems within the company, but we were chosen as a project that we could reduce this cost as well. So by doing this, we've cut our cost down by 1/9. It'd be the 8/9 have been reduced. So we're just doing 1/9 of the program this year. This happened in mid-September as a directive from our project sponsors and upper management. This outcome is the opportunity that's taken to decrease crew works, aligning with budgetary constraints.
Matt, I did have a question on this one. I'm just seeing as though we've been told, we don't have any more budget, and you've outlaid here that we have cut our spend by 1/9. Have we needed to make any considerations in terms of our compliance with ESV, or are we still able to maintain compliance?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a requirement within ESV that we have to, it's written in their documentation that we have to at least initiate the project. With a lot of consultation with ESV, we have come to the agreement that these 45 sites are the highest risk sites. So those ones are the ones that we can complete with confirmation that we complete the rest of these 404 sites next year, along with the remaining 500 sites for 2024 as well. So just as I guess variations are very common in projects. So this one has been promised that we will continue this project through next year, along with next year's program as well.
Sure. Okay. So we are managing that risk and we're aware of it and we're still compliant. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So, so I'll just keep moving forward. So this is the communication information and flow chart. These are all the departments in which they come to in terms of internal resources completing the project. ESV have their own flow chart and information given to them as well. This includes emails, phone numbers, and an escalation plan in the next slide as well. This one just says for any information that's project related, where we should be getting our information from? And if so, we can always communicate with each other as well. With this escalation resolution plan, this just breaks down all these into priorities in terms of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on how big the priority is, depends on who's involved. So please feel free to refer to this if any risks do get identified on site. This one is the big one. So project sponsors are informed and has to be resolved within 4 hours. This is major impact to the business or operations. And then we move down to the less extreme ones in terms of a priority 3 and a priority 4, with slight impacts that may issue some minor scheduling difficulties, and then significant impacts as well. And that's all I've got for this presentation. Are there any general business items or questions that I can answer for anyone?
Yeah, I'm just keen to understand who we communicate our concerns to, because how we feed into that like communication sort of process flow.
Yeah, absolutely. So with yourself, I'm the direct contact in terms of any questions or queries you may have from an external source, so being ESV. If you have any questions, you can definitely come to me, and then I can relay the information back to my team, either in the mod group directly on the floor, or if we have to go through our other sources, such as our steering committee or mentors or project sponsors, I can do that and then keep you guys informed as well.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just wanting a bit of clarification on is how is this going to be, the progress of this going to be tracked and communicated to us?
Yeah, so there'll be a recording platform in which our mod group, that's where they'll record, and if there's any issues that happen in terms of rectification, that's where that will be done. So be a big SharePoint, like a document in which everyone has access to that, so we can track progress as it comes. Yeah, that's so good. That's directly through the mod group, but I'll be maintaining and looking over that every single day. And if anything does happen, we can always communicate as well. If anything does happen on site, e.g., the crew can't get on site, or rain or anything like that may hold up any jobs.
Thanks, Matt.
So are there any more questions that I can answer?
Not from me, thanks.
Not from me, thanks, Matt.
All good, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for attending this meeting, and looking forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks all.